Does anyone else remember a time when rookies were competing for wins in the NASCAR Cup Series almost every week? From 1999 to 2002, rookies won 14 races in 4 years, an average of 3.5 wins per year. Drivers who ran for Rookie of the Year in those 4 years went on to combine for 312 Cup Series wins and 13 Cup Series championships. It was a golden age of rookies in NASCAR, and today we're going to talk about those 4 incredible years, why they came to an end, and ask if we will ever see another era like it. It all started in 1999 with the rookie season of Tony Stewart. In September of 99, Smoke was already sitting 5th in points and won his first race at Richmond. He would win 3 of the season's final 10 races and finish 4th in points, which at the time was the highest points finish by a rookie in the modern era. He was also the first driver to win a race in his rookie season since Davey Allison did it in 1987. And Stewart wasn't just a rookie sensation. He'd go on to win 49 races and 3 championships, plus an extra championship as a car owner with Kevin Harvick, who we'll be talking about in just a minute. In 1999, the rookie class also featured Elliott Sadler, who wasn't very notable as a rookie, but would go on to win 3 races of his own in the Cup Series and have a pretty cool final chapter to his career in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. The following year, we would see a rookie class featuring Matt Kenseth and Dale Earnhardt Jr., both of whom are Hall of Famers, with a combined 65 career wins and 4 Daytona 500 victories, and Kenseth would win the Cup Series championship in 2003. Both of these drivers would win as rookies, with Kenseth winning the Coke 600 at Charlotte and Dale Jr. winning at Texas and Richmond, as well as the Winston. While Kenseth has mostly stayed out of the spotlight since his retirement, Jr. is still one of the most prominent figures in NASCAR today, and has done an incredible amount of good for the sport as an ambassador, broadcaster, and owner in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. And as a side note, with the recent changes to the charter system following the 2311 Front Row lawsuit, do you see Junior Motorsports being capable of making the jump to the Cup Series full-time? Let me know in the comments. In 2001, the rookie class was not supposed to be as great as it eventually was, but following the tragic death of Dale Earnhardt, Kevin Harvick stepped up to the Cup Series and won in just his 3rd start, and then picked up a 2nd win at Chicagoland later in the year. He finished 9th in points despite missing a race. Kurt Busch also competed for Rookie of the Year in 2001, though he didn't really put up great numbers, but he would go on to have a breakout season in 2002 and win a championship in 2004. Harvick and Busch would go on to have a combined 94 career wins, with Harvick sitting 10th on the all-time wins list with 60 to his name. Both would go on to win Cup Series championships, with Busch winning in 2004 and Harvick in 2014. And then there was the best rookie class in NASCAR history. In 2002, Jimmie Johnson and Ryan Newman competed for Rookie of the Year and finished 5th and 6th in points respectively. Johnson won 3 races and Newman won 1 race. These 2 rookies combined for a staggering 43 top 10 finishes and 10 pole awards. They would go on to combine for 101 career wins, 83 for Johnson and 18 for Newman, and Johnson would win 7 championships. Jamie McMurray would also win a race in just his 2nd career start that year, but he only ran 6 races and wouldn't officially run for Rookie of the Year until the following year in 2003. Since 2002, the only rookie class that has even come close to matching the top 10 total from Johnson and Newman was the 2006 class, which featured Denny Hamlin, Clint Bowyer, Martin Truex Jr., and Reed Sorensen. Those 4 drivers combined for a total of 41 top 10s, which still couldn't match the 43 of just Jimmie Johnson and Ryan Newman. Rookies would continue to win occasionally from 2003 to 2009, but not at nearly the same rate. There would be 8 races won by rookies in those 7 seasons, but since then, only 6 races had been won by rookies. That is until SVG took 5 road course wins in 2025, setting a new rookie record. Also, I do think that Connor Zilisch may add his name to the list at some point this year. Just want to get that on record, and we'll talk more about that later. So, what changed that made it almost impossible for rookies to compete like they used to? Well, there were some very obvious changes that first, until 2007, the cars in the O'Reilly series, then called the Busch series, were basically identical to the Cup cars. So the learning curve for rookies was much less than it is today. Also, at that time, Cup Series drivers were regularly competing in the Busch Series. In fact, from 2006 to 2010, Busch Series championship was won by a Cup Series regular each year. This had some harmful effects because it limited the number of quality seats available to young talent in NASCAR's top feeder series. Sponsors wanted winners, and Cup Series regulars were winners. Even after NASCAR banned Cup Series drivers from earning championship points, Cup regulars still continued to compete and pick up nearly every trophy available. Again, teams and sponsors only cared about wins, which Cup Series drivers gave them. The effects of this weren't felt immediately, but they would eventually catch up, resulting in what I would refer to as the dark age of NASCAR rookies, which lasted from 2010 to 2012. It would take NASCAR putting real limitations on how often Cup Series drivers could compete in lower series to fix this problem. However, the flip side of this is that drivers who made it to the Cup Series at this time had already been competing against Cup Series regulars on a weekly basis, and they were more prepared to face off against their new competitors. Making things even harder on rookies was the fact that in 2008, right at the dawn of the Car of Tomorrow era, NASCAR banned all private testing at tracks that held NASCAR-sanctioned races. Private testing gave rookies valuable seat time, and this was something that was no longer available to them at a time where it was more critical than ever given the new differences between the cars. NASCAR briefly brought back private testing at sanctioned tracks from 2013 to 2015, but then banned private testing altogether, which I think did the most damage for the competitiveness of rookies. Kevin Harvick said during his Dale Jr. Download interview that he was testing constantly during his rookie year, and I think if rookies had the chance to do that today, it would go a long way toward making them more competitive. But the big question facing us right now is, with SVG's road course dominance last year and the arrival of Connor Zilisch this year, are we about to enter a new golden age of rookies? My answer to this question is unfortunately no. Shane Van Gisbergen was no normal rookie. He was a 3-time V8 Supercars champion who came over to NASCAR, and thanks to his experience in Australia, was immediately the best road course racer in the series, arguably the best in NASCAR history. Connor Zilisch is quite possibly the most talented prospect I've ever seen come up to the Cup Series, and I expect him to live up to the hype this year. Still, the battle between Van Gisbergen and Riley Herbst last year was anything but a Rookie of the Year battle between Jimmie Johnson and Ryan Newman, and it seems like Zilisch won't have any competition at all for Rookie of the Year this year. I also just don't see anyone else coming up after Zilisch who I would expect to be a winner right out of the gate. So I think that the rookies that we're seeing in 2025 and 2026 are more of a special treat that we get to watch for 2 years than a new golden age. I started following NASCAR at the end of the 2001 season, and looking back on it, I realized what a treat it was to become a NASCAR fan during this era. Watching the Rookie of the Year battle between Johnson and Newman in 2002 is still one of the greatest things that I've gotten to watch as a NASCAR fan, and I don't think that we'll ever see a rookie battle like that again. But do you think we ever will? What would have to happen to make that possible? Would we have to bring back private testing? Let me know in the comments. Please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps out a lot. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.